Perhaps we will find our clue in the most famous tomb of them all.
It's incredible. You've come to the Valley of the Kings and here we are in Tutankhamun's tomb. And it's so hot it is, you cannot believe how hot it is. I've had to take my shirt off, and I mean, you look around and the artwork on the walls is quite astounding. Rich, but some of the artwork in it is a little bit rough, i.e. he died very unexpectedly and very young compared to many of the other pharaohs, and it was a rush job. Hence the reason also why the tomb was quite small. We have Tutankhamun being pulled on the sleigh in his sarcophagus, and he's being pulled by 12 different people, probably some sort of official, somebody, probably very important people. And these 12 officials are taking him to his burial place. If we look over this way here, then we have a whole facing wall of 12 richly coloured baboons, each in their own little rectangle with some hieroglyphics there. Now over here, Pharaoh Tutankhamum embraced the god Osiris.
In 1922, after years of searching, Howard Carter found the intact tomb of Tutankhamun, and inside he saw the image of Egypt's once forgotten pharaoh.
And as Howard Carter comes into the intact tomb, he finds amazing treasures, the like of which had never been seen ever before.
After the entrance corridor, this tomb has 4 main chambers. The most important is the burial chamber, and for us, the treasury.
Now we have Tutankhamun's sarcophagus, but over this way there's another room for a small doorway to the treasury. And when Howard Carter came here, he found riches beyond his wildest dreams. When Howard Carter entered the treasury right here, the first thing that met his eyes was this golden box, wooden but overlaid with gold and with poles protruding out of each end, which could be carried by 4 people. Now on top of this box was what could be best described as a dog with pointy ears and a Anubis jackal. He found a box, a golden laden box with handles protruding from either end, and it looked very similar to the Ark of the Covenant.
This golden treasure is now in the Egyptian Museum, and when we saw it, we could perceive its similarity to the Bible's Ark of the Covenant. First, remove Anubis, then overlay the Egyptian symbols with a plain golden covering, and finally add an artist's impression of the Bible's 2 cherubim. So we went down to Tutankhamun's tomb. It was quiet. We were the only ones in there, which was really nice.
It's quite incredible to actually be here to see these, the Valley of the Kings and all the major excavations that they've had.
Oh, scorching heat. Scorching heat.
People forget that the Bible is a 2,000-year-old history book because it's so available. Not only is the death and resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ historical fact, but so is the stories in the Old Testament. And here in ancient Egypt, we're linking the Bible and Egyptian history together. Moses was raised in Egypt, and Tutankhamun's treasure reveals that sacred boxes covered with gold and carried by poles were familiar to Egyptians. Now that we have established what the ark may have looked like, we must now proceed to examine the historical record to find out what happened to the Ark of the Covenant and ask if it still exists today. Look out for our next report. Yours sincerely, Paul and Matthew.